What's up, guys? Welcome on in. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be cool. If not, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. If you guys are a fan of this and you want some more hijinks, you can watch the Tobin and Leroy show every single weekday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Myself, Leroy Horde. We have lots of fun. And you guys can watch that on the WQM YouTube page. If you guys are Twitchers, you guys watch on Twitch as well. Check that on out. So, some pieces of Heat news in the aftermath of the NBA trade deadline that we did not get to earlier in the day today, but Jaime Jaquez Jr., he is going to participate in the slam dunk contest that was reported by, I believe Greg Sylvander was the first person I saw report that, and then Shams was kind of leaking it and said this is likely the lineup, but official, Jaime Jaquez is participating in the slam dunk contest this weekend. He will look to become the first Heat player to win it since Derrick Jones Jr., of course, in the hotly contested, much filled with controversy, Dwayne Wade judged giving Aaron Gordon a 9. A great dunk contest, by the way. One of the things that is overshadowed with the controversy, it was a great back and forth between him and AG. But I think Jaime Jaquez, he's going up against McClung, who, of course, is the reigning champ, going against Obi Toppin's brother, Jacob, and Jaylen Brown, strangely enough, is going to be so it gives me a reason to watch. I usually don't partake in these very much if my favorite players are not in it or there's no Heat player in it. I think who are the last guys who have been? Tyler did the 3-point contest recently. Didn't go fantastic. Tyler and Duncan Robinson did not exactly hold up the honor of the great, strong tradition that is Miami Heat players in the 3-point contest. But Derrick Jones did come home with hardware. I believe Bam won the skills competition that week as well. So it is upon Jaime to restore honor to the Miami Heat in this All-Star weekend. And so we will hope that Jaime can get that done. I believe Leroy's suggestion of him going Kylo Ren on their ass with a dunk with a lightsaber in some kind of dark, if we could darken the arena lights, dim the arena lights to make that. I don't think there's, not to my knowledge, there hasn't been a Star Wars one. I know that there's been, Superman. I remember Victor Oladipo being Black Panther with Chadwick Boseman courtside. That was a really cool one. But I think Jaime's got he's got the look. He has, props wise, has this in the bag if he wants to go that route. And there are some old footage of Jaime Jaquez Jr. in a dunk contest from years back. I believe it was in high school before he had the slick mustache and facial hair when he was a baby-faced Jaime. So this should be cool. I'm very excited for Jaime to get that national spotlight and hopefully can outshine everybody. Look, McClung, we got your gimmick last year, right, dude? New Toppin, all right, you're there. Nepotism. What are we serious? He's going to be out here. And then, Jaylen Brown, I feel like this is him almost like, oh, he's going to go Boston media, pity party for him because he wants so much attention away from Jason Tatum. So, look, the one who's going to stand on his own merit is Jaime Jaquez Jr., and so very much looking forward to it. So that is some outstanding news. On the other side of things, back locally with your Miami Heat, there is news today regarding Haywood Highsmith. Now, I didn't even comment on this on the radio show. I really, like, something like this happened. I wanted to get some more details on what happened with Haywood Highsmith and his whole thing. Because when the first statement came out, my initial reaction was not good because of the way that it read, where, the Heat weren't commenting and they were praying for, other people's injuries. And then you had found out that Haywood was okay on that night, but that others were injured in an accident. And, I just wanted to see what was happening. And then you find out that somebody else was, injured in it and not Jaime. Well, the details did come out today from TMZ. And they said that he was cited for careless driving. Cops issued Haywood Highsmith a citation for careless driving on Tuesday after they say he caused an accident that resulted in a man suffering a partial amputation of his leg as well as other broken bones According to the crash report obtained by TMZ Sports, the gruesome wreck happened around 11:20 p.m., just minutes after Highsmith and the Heat beat the Orlando Magic at the Kaseya Center. Cops state in the documents that Highsmith was going an estimated 45 miles an hour in a 40-mile-per-hour zone when he slammed into the back of a pedestrian who appeared to be pushing a broken-down car in the middle of the roadway. The doc stated that Highsmith told the officers the disabled vehicle did not have its lights on and he couldn't stop his ride in time. Cops wrote in the document that the pedestrian lost part of its leg in the accident, sustained a compound fracture to his left leg as well. The man also suffered a possible broken arm. Police added that the man was rushed to a local hospital in critical condition. TMZ also writes, the crash reports that states that drugs and alcohol were not involved. The officers did write in the docs that Highsmith may have been distracted by unknown circumstances. And then it goes on to say that he played in the 121-95 win earlier in the night and did not play on Wednesday and was out because of personal reasons. So that was that report. And then a statement was put out today by Haywood's agent. And Shams Charania, he puts out the tweet, Miami Heat starter Haywood Highsmith will return to the team and practice on Friday. Shams tweets out that Miami Heat starter Haywood Highsmith will return to the team, practice on Friday after a car accident and being ticketed for careless driving. And this was a statement from Highsmith's camp. His agent, Jerry Deanis, who said that on his way home after the Miami Heat game against the Orlando Magic, Haywood Highsmith was involved in a car accident that injured one person. At approximately 1:20 p.m., Haywood struck a pedestrian pushing a disabled car without lights down in the middle of a dark road. Haywood immediately rushed to help the person pushing the car who had been injured. A tourniquet was applied to the injuries by a bystander. Haywood stayed on the scene continuously, talking to the injured man, offering words of comfort until the ambulance took him to the hospital. Mr. Highsmith had not consumed alcohol or drugs and was not speeding. I mean, yeah, what do you think? 11:20 after a game that probably ended at, 10:30. He probably was just like leaving either the arena or dinner. Statement also says that this was an unfortunate accident. We have been notified that the person sustained significant injuries but is in stable condition. Haywood and his family are praying for him. Haywood is, of course, shaken by this and appreciates the support and prayers he has received from the Miami Heat and the fans. We will have no further comment. So imagine he's not going to say anything at practice tomorrow. I know when this news came out, like the first things that just came to my mind when you saw Haywood Highsmith accident, first of all, you hope he's okay. That's the first thing. And then when they say that he's okay, you're hoping when this stuff comes out, one, that there are no substances involved, which, sounds like everybody agrees there was not. Two, that he wasn't speeding like a demon. If he was going 45 and a 40, that's not like an egregious, dangerous speed that he's going. And then you're hoping that, if this happened, that he stayed on the scene. Now, he wasn't arrested, so obviously, like, all those things went through, and this just seems like a really unfortunate thing. It's just overall just horrific news to hear, somebody losing a limb. Very, very scary situation. I know I would be shook if that happened to me. People being out and it being dark out, like, I know I live in a neighborhood with very, very poor lighting and, people are out like walking their dogs. You don't see them, things like that. So it's one of these things that's like really unfortunate. You obviously know that like somebody's at fault for an accident, but you always, when things like this happen, feel like it definitely could happen to you. So I'm not trying to say that like Haywood did nothing wrong here, but ultimately I'm sure he feels just absolutely awful for what happened. And I feel awful for the gentleman who's, who suffered this brutal injury out of this thing. And, I hope that Haywood is going to be okay being back with the team. Hopefully that will be a good source of comfort and support for him. And, they can help him deal with all of this. But, it was really some scary news to hear. I just wanted to see if we can get, I wanted to wait until all or more details were out before even really saying anything about it. Because, we're so quick to jump to have a reaction and everything, and this was just kind of one of those things where like I just wanted the dust to settle a little bit, and overall right now you're just reading something that just seems like it has just really, really unfortunate happen. So a great bummer there. A great bummer there. Meanwhile, seamlessly transitioning, the NBA trade deadline came and went. Probably the most interesting story out of all this, reaction-wise, was I saw Robin Lopez today was at his Bucks game, but he was just reading a book in classic Robin Lopez style. I still find the Damian Lillard and the Patrick Beverley thing absolutely hilarious. The Bucks just seem to be doing everything that they can to just make Damian Lillard as uncomfortable as possible. But then you have this PJ Tucker thing where he just tweets out or posts on Instagram. He goes, the whole thing is a bleeping joke. He is, steaming that he did not get traded. And it almost does make you wonder with all of this stuff. I know that a lot of these owners, you have so many small market teams, they don't want to feel like always the contenders get the leg up on this, but also then they don't want to hold on to contracts of guys who are not wanting to be in losing situations. So this whole idea of the teams that are limited on who can get whom in a buyout is a little bit weird to me. And I don't know what the NBA does about it. I don't know if there's tweaks to it, because there are a couple of things that have seemed a little bit odd with all of these apron rules, tax rules, which they've just become so confining. And I always wonder with these things, like, who are these for, right? Like, you look at a year like this year, and you think about it, and you have some really great stories in small markets, right? There's not really anybody in any market that is being held back by anything or feeling like they're really unfair. Like Washington and Detroit have been a disaster for a very long time. Charlotte has not been good for a long while, but Indiana's good. Indiana made a savvy trade with Tyrese Halliburton, and you think about that, you're like, they drafted a guy like Miles Turner. They've had him, so they made a smart move there, and they got to make a banging trade in Pascal Siakam. Why couldn't they, try and convince somebody to come on in there and still make some more moves willy-nilly? Orlando's finally good. See Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver won the championship last year. New Orleans is out of the play-in right now. Sacramento's right behind them at 7. Utah's 500 this year. So I just ultimately look at all of this stuff, and I'm trying to think who are these deals for, and who are they protecting? Like, why did anybody find the need to do all these aprons and keep people from spending and trading and making their teams better? Just weird to me, man. Very, very strange. But it will be interesting to monitor what the Heat do in this trade market. In this buyout market, but I do think they, for the most part, like their roster. I don't necessarily know. Last year when they went and got Kevin Love, there was definitely an upgrade needed to have some kind of a backup big. You had Dwayne Dedmon, for God's sakes. It was a disaster, and Kevin was a huge necessity. I don't necessarily see that glaring thing needed unless you wanted to say I don't really know, veteran backup point guard, that somebody if one of your guys went down, but so many guys on this team handle the ball. I don't really see it. As I talked about in the trade deadline, that 4 spot was just kind of the biggest question, but they kept Caleb. So, I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be this big name that everybody's going to be super excited about for the Miami Heat.